Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new season of the GP4 Offline Championship. We are already into Season 5, and we are now at the 2012 season. And I am going to be your host for the season, George Roke, and welcome to the first round of the season, the Australian Grand Prix at the Melbourne Street Circuit. And I should say fifth season, hosting by Yuri123. And we are here for the Australian Grand Prix, so we've already had a notable number of new drivers in the series. We've had drivers leaving, we've had James Willis leaving, we've got a number of new drivers in the series, a number of drivers changed. This is set to be a fascinating season, and I can't wait to commentate it. There's also going to be 20 races, the most in the OC calendar, and it starts here at the Australian Grand Prix. It should be a fascinating race. Usually these races are quite chaotic as the first race of the season. Might be a lot of failures, a lot of crashes as people getting used to their cars, new drivers on the grid. But it will be very interesting to see for sure how that's going to go. So here is the grid. So Viggo Holst is on pole position, his first pole position in the OC for McLaren. Alex Southgate alongside him in second place. Third place is Lauren Volker, the current world champion for Red Bull. Fourth place is Evan Byrne. Fifth place, an impressive qualifying by George Roke. Sixth place is Felix Sonntag for Mercedes. Seventh place is Amar Khan for Force India. Miklos Gal moving from McLaren to Red Bull in eighth place. One of the lineups of the season, I think. Joseph Willows, ninth. The disappointing qualifying for Ferrari with Franco Gamba, who won the GP2 title, I should say, last season in a very impressive 10th place. A very good qualifying from him. 11th place is Jay McKenzie, followed by Robbie Enescu. 12th for Sauber. 13th place is his teammate, Rifki Farkazane. And 14th is Sam Thompson, who moved from Toro Rosso. Moved to Toro Rosso from Williams, I should say. A decision which was questioned by a number of critics in the OC community. 15th place is Adam Wolf, and 16th place is a very poor qualifying by Waze Kuba. 17th place is Rollo Moitin, followed by Kirosima De Rossa for Force India, new debut in the series. 19th place is Roman Quagg, followed by Sean Grant in 20th. Oliver Glazebrook making his debut in the OC in 21st, and Zachary Fitzwater, the Australian, in his own Grand Prix, starting in last position for Marussia. And we will now have a look at the weather for the Grand Prix. And we're going to have a look right about now. And as you can see, it will be bright sunshine for this race. This is set to be a very good race. I'm very much looking forward to it. I hope you guys are also looking forward to the season. It's mad how quickly the 2011 season went past. And we're already starting 2012. So this is going to be very, very good. I'm very much looking forward to this season, as I imagine you guys are, as we are now on the grid for the first race of the season, the GP4 Offline Championship 2012. You've got the nice little graphic on the bottom left of your screen there as well. Thanks to Az for designing that. But enough of that. The 5 lights are now on. It's a long hold, and the lights are out, and we're away for the 2012 season. And it looks like Alex Southgate's made a great start from second place. Holst has not made a good start at all. Evan Byrne is alongside him. Will Alex Southgate take the lead into turn 1, and no, Holst gets it back around the outside, and he takes the lead, but Southgate is in second place. Evan Byrne is in third, and there's a yellow flag already at turn 1. There might have been a crash or something, I'm not sure, but Evan Byrne is in third place. What's happening? And there's Waze Kuba's out, Roman Quagg and Zachary Fitzwater. 3 cars involved, and we already have 3 cars out on the spot, the first 3 retirements of the season. Zachary Fitzwater in his home Grand Prix. Sam Thompson, I think he's lost his rear wing. He's been involved in it as well as it. And is that his rear wing? Yes, it is. So what has happened at the first corner? Let's go on board. We're having a look at Sam Thompson. Let's have a look from Waze Kuba, from his point of view. And, oh, it looks like Waze Kuba was the one who caused that. Well, actually, Kuba, I think, got hit from behind as well. So who was it who hit him from behind? Was it Zachary Fitzwater? Let's go on board with Thompson's point of view. And let's have a look. And it was Kuba who pretty much, had that whole thing. Who pretty much did that whole, on the start line collision. He was the one who first went in to the back of Thompson, and then Quagg went into the back of him because he slowed down, and Quagg had nowhere to go. So Kuba pretty much started that whole crash there at the first corner. Not a good start for Kuba. Just not been here. It certainly just wasn't his season last year. And let's have a look on board from Zachary Fitzwater's point of view. He, unfortunately, was a passenger in this. Obviously, Kuba into Thompson, Quagg into Kuba, and then, unfortunately, I think Zachary Fitzwater just had absolutely nowhere to go, and unfortunately got caught in that absolute melee that Kuba started. That was not a good start to the season for Waze Kuba or for Ferrari, who had a poor qualifying session. And that is 3 cars out on the spot already. Wow, what a start to the race we've had. As we now look, that was a Renault, they're making a move. coming into turn 4. As you look at Holson Lee, Southgate in second, Burns in third, Volker fourth. As we look at Southgate, as Evan Burns is now right behind. George Roker still in 5th, Carr in 6th, Willows 7th, Farkas in 8th, Sontag 9th, Gamma complete the top 10, then Gal, Ionescu, McKenzie, Moyton, De Rossa, Wolf, Grant, Glazebrook, and Thompson, who will have to pit. And old George Roker's gone wide, and he's gone off the track. It's something, I don't know if he's made a mistake, but on his own making, and he comes back on the track. He's been hit. He's come on the track right in front of Robbie Ionescu, and he's taken him out. That is a really, really poor mistake there from George Roke. Just came out right in the path of Ionescu, and it looks like he's just taken Ionescu out of the race. And I think Roke might have actually got away with some damage there. And Roman Quag is out as no, he was already out the first corner. So I don't need to worry about that. But let's have a look at that again. And Roke, it looks like, just came right in the path of Ionescu. We don't actually know how Roke went off, and there was actually Ionescu made contact with Miklos Gal coming onto the back straight. And you see Roke, who's coming back on the track. It would have been fine if he just rejoined near the tyre barriers, and he just didn't seem to see Ionescu there. And unfortunately, Ionescu, he got shoved into the wall. Roke somehow has managed to get away without any damage. But oh my goodness me, let's have a look on board from Roda Moitin's point of view, coming into the right-hander. And oh, he's made a collision as well. He's gone into the back of George Roke's teammate Jay McKenzie there. It's a nightmare start for Renault, and both of those two are going to have to pit. Oh my goodness me. And Roke, still not sure exactly how he went wide, but that is not the start that George Roke would have wanted, and certainly not the start that Robbie Ionescu would have wanted. Unfortunately, out on the first lap again for his new team, Sauber. As now McKenzie and Moyton are going to have to pit, as there's Thompson behind theirs. Now Evan Byrne is right behind Alex Southgate as they come onto the front straight, and is Byrne going to make a move coming into turn 1? Holst sets the fastest lap. He's got away, and Byrne is going to try and make a move on Southgate into turn 1. Is he going to make it stick? It's very close. There's no contact, and now Volker could have a chance to get past Byrne here if he's not careful. He's right behind him as they now come onto the straight. As we now look, I think we're going back. We might be going back to having a look at what happened to Roke on the first lap. And let's have a look. And Armar Carr was right behind him. And then, oh, there was contact. There was contact between Roke and Carr. That's why Roke went off. So it wasn't a mistake on his own. Unfortunately, George Roke and Armar Carr, they've had a numerous number of collisions in 2011. And unfortunately, they have collided with each other once again. And that is not going to do good to the relationship between those two. As now we look at Florian Volker, who is right behind Evan Byrne coming onto the straight. As now we look at Evan Byrne again, and Evan Byrne is pulling off the track. He's got a transmission problem, and McLaren's reliability problems continue once again. And just 3 laps are gone, and we already have 5 cars out of this race. What a dramatic start we've had to this Grand Prix. I certainly was right about crashes and mechanical failures. But Byrne, who had dropped slightly off Southgate, he was still right behind him. But let's have a look. He was just coming round, and unfortunately the car just broke on him right there. And he's had to pull off the circuit. That is not the start Evan Byrne would have wanted at all. But that means Armar Carr is now already up to 4th for Force India. Joseph Willows is now up to 5th. And Rifki Parkstein has got up 7 places to 6th place. How has that happened? I don't know how he's managed to get out that many places. But that's a great start for him as well. But not a good start to the season for Evan Byrne, who led the championship for the first half of the season, but unfortunately lost it in the second half. And Franco Gamba's going very slowly there, coming into the right-hander, and he was running in 9th place. And what on earth was going on there? I'm not quite sure what that was about. So let's go on board with him here. And he comes through here. He just slows down for some reason. He lets Roke, De Rossa, and Gal all go through. That was just really, really bizarre there. Maybe he missed a gear, or maybe something briefly shut down in the car. I'm not sure, but that was just really, really weird there from Franco Gamba. He just dropped 3 places for, I mean, it seems like no reason, really. As now we look at Armar Carr, who's running in 4th place. Joseph Willows in 5th place. And now here's the battle for 6th between Rifki Parkstein and Felix Sontag as they come into turn 1. Sontag is on the inside. Surely he's going to make the move stick. And yes, he does. And now Florian Volker makes the move stick on Alex Southgate for 2nd place. Coming down the right-hander, coming onto the back straight. And he makes the move stick. A pretty good move there by Volker, I have to say. It was a bit of a late one, but he did it clean nonetheless. And now he's going to attempt to go after Viggo Holst up front, and you can see that Southgate does have a lot of fuel in his car compared to Armar Carr, who's just got 6 laps. Alex Southgate has got over 20, so it looks like Southgate might be going for the 2-stop here, and Carr looks like might be doing a 3-stop. So we'll see if that works out for him, as he now is on the alongside Southgate into turn 1, and he makes it stick. And now Joseph Willows is right behind him. I can now say Willows just the second name for the whole season instead of having to differentiate between James and Joe, as unfortunately James has retired from the series, so to speak. As now Felix Sonntag has made his way past Southgate. He's dropping like a stone now. And now Ricky Farquharson, who everyone around him has got so much lighter fuel than he does. And Farquharson tries to make a move coming into the fast left and right. But he can't do it, but he now does it a lap later. And he makes the move stick, and Southgate goes a bit wide there onto the grass. But Southgate has dropped down to 7th. He was running I think he was running 2nd just a couple of laps ago. And now he's going to be dropped to 8th place at the moment. As now Nicolas Gal is right behind him coming into the left-hander. He's not going to quite do it. But now he's going to... oh, wait, no, this isn't Gal and Southgate. This is Florian Volker making a move on Holst for the lead of the race. And he takes the lead on lap 12. And he's got 12 laps of fuel. But Holst, it looks like, is going for the one stop. Carr is going to be pitting this lap. And he's now going to try and attack Holst for 2nd place. It won't really matter because Holst can just let him through because he is pitting. Anyway, it was very close there. But Carr makes the move stick. So he's running in P2. So I bet he's feeling very happy about that, but unfortunately it won't last for long, because he will be pitting, but Holst is going for the 1-stop. Looks like Volker is probably going to go for the 2-stop, and Amar Carr, as he comes into the pits on lap 12, is set to go for the 3-stop. So let's see if that works out. I don't know if that's really going to work out. I'd imagine probably the 2-stop is the way to go, as Amar Carr comes into the pits on lap now 13, I should say, of the Grand Prix. Let's see how quickly this stop will be. And now, and for those of you who don't know, obviously there's different tyres for the season, and the tyres for this Grand Prix is, in fact, used for this Grand Prix is the soft tyre. As Carr comes out onto the track, it's a 5.6 second stop. It's pretty quick. Is he going to come out ahead of Grant? No. Is he going to come out ahead of Ollie Glazebrook? And the answer is yes, he is, or is he? Is Glazebrook's just coming around turn 1? Is Carr getting out ahead? Because if he doesn't, that could impact him. As now Sean Grant for the Marussia team is out of the race, with it looks like another transmission problem. He just got overtaken there by Amar Carr. Well, he had, although at least on the wrong side, he just actually defended from Carr. And that's exactly when the engine actually blew. And then Carr finally did manage to make his move past him. And unfortunately for Grant, his car unfortunately failing on him. And it looks like probably most likely it is an engine failure, as he comes down the back straight. And unfortunately he pulls off in a corner's time, as he was never really going to make it to the pits with that amount of smoke coming from his car. So that is another car. We already have 6 cars out of this race in just 15 laps. It makes me think how many cars are going to get to the end. But Sean Grant retires with an engine failure. And that is him out the race, as the wheel just goes across the track there. And Mackenzie, fortunately enough to avoid it there. That was very close. It could have been a lot worse for Mackenzie if he hit it, because he's already nearly last at the moment. And that could have got a whole lot worse for him there. But fortunately, it hasn't. As now into the pits for his first stop is Joseph Willows. And let's see how his stop will be. Joseph Willows, who wasn't really in the title fight for most of the season, but only came in after winning the race in India and then winning in Abu Dhabi. Those 2 wins got him back into title contention, where he hadn't really, even though he had taken 2 wins before that, hadn't really looked particularly in title contention, but he got himself into it. But eventually he was pipped to 3rd place by Evan Byrne, as now Amar Carr is coming out of the pits. As now here is Ollie Glazebrook, and looks like Ricky Farquharson battling for 11th place. Farquharson makes the move for 12th, I should say, and now Mackenzie is going to be right behind Glazebrook as they come onto the back straight. Will Mackenzie try and make a move before the fast left and right-hander? And he's going to be right behind, but I think he'll stick behind him, or will he? He makes a move there, Glazebrook, he defends, but that's going to compromise his line. As now Felix Sonntag comes into the pits for Mercedes. As now George Roque is going past down the track, he'll have to make a stop soon. Nicolas Gal for Red Bull is in as well. Sonntag comes out a 5.7 second stop, 27 laps, so it looks like he'll be doing he will be doing one more stop for sure, so it will be a 2-stop for Felix Sonntag as he comes out of the pits. And now here we are on board with the McLaren. I believe this is of Ricky Farquharson. Well, it is, because he's the only Sauber in the race. He's now right behind Joseph Willows, and Joseph Willows just lets him by there. Quite bizarre there from Joseph Willows, just lets him by. Don't know what quite was going on there. As now we look into the... Oh, and now we know the reason why, because Joseph Willows has just gone into the back of Felix Sonntag coming out of the pits, and Sonntag has somehow got away with no damage whatsoever. But Joseph Willows has lost his front wing, and that is going to eliminate himself from getting any chances for podium in this race, and maybe even points. And oh dear me, I mean, we saw that pit exit has been dodgy this weekend. We've seen a number of accidents that happen in practice, and unsurprisingly it has happened here. Now we look at the Force India. I believe this is of, I think, is it Amarkar? Yes, it is Amarkar. He's making a move on Adam Wolf for 7th place, and he makes the move stick into turn 1. George Roke comes out of the pits, 5.1. The stops seem to be certainly faster this year than they were last year. I mean, great maths there, great maths. As now Miklos Gauss sets the fastest lap as Roke comes out in P11, just ahead of Oliver Glazebrook in the Lotus. As now we look at Florian Volker coming out of the pits. He's done a 6.9 second stop, so Holst, I believe, will take the lead, and yes, he does. He obviously will be doing a 1 stop, so it'll be interesting to see how Volker's pace is like on this set of tyres and how Holst is doing on his set of tyres, because obviously he's still got quite a few laps before he pits. Tyre wear certainly this season is going to be more of a factor, so at the moment, Kirosima De Rosa is in 3rd place, but had to make a stop, and Volker, crucially, is he going to come out just ahead of Amarkar? That is very, very close, but that could be very important come the end of the race. Volker does come out ahead of Carr, but obviously Carr will be pitting in about 9 laps time, but still, Carr at the moment with less fuel and probably still fresher tyres could still pose a threat. As now De Rosa comes in for his first stop of his OC career. 22 laps of fuel will be put in, so he'll be fueling quite near the end of the race. So he's done quite a long stint, and he's going to do another one for Force India. Makes me think, if they do it for that long, why don't they just do it to the end of the race? But we'll see how that works out for him. Alan Wolf now comes in for Williams in for his stop. Let's see how quick this stop will be for Wolf.
Okay, no pressure.
And let's see, it's going to be a quick one. It's a 5-second stop. And let's see where he comes out onto the track. And he's coming out in 11th place. He's going to come out. He's behind Franco Gamba. He's going to come out ahead of his teammate Brolab Moitian as he comes into turn 1, and he just does come out ahead in 11th place. Is now Amarkar comes in for his 2nd stop of the race. Will he go to the end on this set of tyres? The answer is no, he doesn't. Looks like they are going to go for the 3 stop. I don't really think that's going to work out for him, particularly if he wants to get at least a top 5. I think he could still get points, but I don't really think Force India have thought well on this strategy here. They probably should have put him on De Rosa's strategy, if anything else, if he wanted to get a good result. But he's going to come out in 10th place. That's not really worked out that well for Carr, but he does have fresh air, so you never know. I mean, he could easily take advantage of it. But now here is Volker, who is actually caught up to the back of Holst now, who I believe has not yet pitted yet. So he's gone a long way on these set of tyres, so I imagine they are pretty worn out. Volker's still got around 10 laps or so before he makes his stop. So I imagine Holst will be pitting in the next couple of laps or so, because otherwise his advantage already is nullified. But Volker will have to pit anyway, as now Volker makes a move on Holst coming into turn 1. He's going to make it stick. It's going to be very, very close, and there's contact, and they're off, and Holst has managed to get away with it. But Volker still makes the move stick, but crucially they haven't spun, and the two possibly championship contenders have collided coming into turn 1. I mean, you can see it was going to be very tight there, and Volker just really kind of brutally pushed him off there, and Holst very nearly had a collision there as he rejoined in front of Volker. As we go on board from another view from Holst, I mean, Volker was on the inside there. I mean, there wasn't unfortunately room for 2 of them there, and I thought Holst was going to spin there, but they've both got away with it. But Holst will be pitting. He's still got 7 laps of fuel, but he'll be pitting in, I reckon, the next 2 laps. As now Alex Southgate comes in for, it looks like probably his final stop of the Grand Prix. He comes in to the pits. Let's see how quick this stop will be for Mercedes. He's had a great race so far as Alex Southgate. He's certainly one of the most consistent performers in the OC. Didn't win the championship in 2009 when he was at Brawn, unfortunately, but he's still certainly a really good driver, that is for sure. 6.3, bit of a slow stop compared to some of the ones that we have seen so far. Many of them have been in the 5-second bracket. Let's see where he comes out onto the track. He's going to be out behind De Rosa. Is he going to come out ahead of George Roke? It's going to be very tight, and no, Southgate is not. He comes up behind Roke. He comes up behind, I think that's Franco Gamba and Amarkar, and he goes off into the first corner. We saw a lot of that in practice, and that has happened again. And now the Williams is coming through, and it's very close to contact, but Carr, and that has surely put a dent in his title, in his points hopes. Unfortunately, you could just see that was going to happen. Just no room there, and there's nothing really that Carr could have done. Unfortunately, just 2 cars coming out there at the same time, just unfortunately just does not work. But Southgate gets away with that with anything, but unfortunately Carr has lost a position and a lot of time. So the only thing he can probably hope for now is possibly to get some points on the board. But Carr spins around and he rejoins in 10th place. As now we look at Miklos Gal, who is right behind Felix Sontag here, as he now comes into the right-hander. Is he going to overtake him? He's on the inside. It's another late move, and Sontag goes wide over the grass, and now Gal does make the move stick. Sontag unfortunately outbraked himself coming into that turn, and Gal makes the move stick for 3rd place, as now Gal comes in for his final stop of the Grand Prix. He'll be fueled to the end of the race. 6.6 seconds it was, that stop, and let's see where he comes out on track. At the moment he's behind George Roque, but he'll have to pit again. I believe Adam Wolf, who's running now in 8th, will have to pit as well, and Carl, obviously we know he's on a 3, so he'll have to pit again. As now Miklos Gal comes out, as Carl's now running in 9th place at this moment in time. As now Ricky Hartgreaves running in 11th place, as Gal comes out of the pits in 10th. Holst now crucially comes in for his final stop of the race, and Volker, who will be pitting once more, will he come out ahead of Holst or not? Because that will be fascinating to see. Holst will probably have the fresher tyres, but will this work out for Volker? We shall see. This is now going to be interesting to see. Holst has come out in 4th place. He's come out behind De Rossa, but crucially he is in clear air, so he has an advantage here. He comes out ahead of Gamba. Now Southgate makes a move on Gamba for P5, coming into turn 1, and Holst now in P4. This is what he needs. He needs to have a lot of pace, and he's now right behind. He's already caught up to the back of De Rossa. Volker, who's not pitting yet, I think for, probably until at least next lap. Holst needs to get through De Rossa, I should say, as quickly as possible. He's just about alongside. Is he going to make the mistake in the turn when he'll have the fresher tyres? Will De Rossa defend? And the answer is no, he doesn't. Holst makes the move stick, and he is up into 3rd place. Could that be a race-winning move? We don't know. We've still got 17 laps of this race to go. And now Sontag comes into the pits, and now so does De Rossa for Force India. And let's see how quickly this stop will be for him. And it is a 5.3 second stop for the Polish driver, and he comes out. And where will he come out? He'll come out, I believe, in the points, it looks like. So De Rossa's had a very impressive race, and looks like he will, because he'll come out, I think, behind Ricky Hartgreaves. So now here is Holst, and now here is Volker, who's coming out of the pits. Will Volker get out in front of Holst? Crucially, he'll have fresher tyres, Holst, but is Volker going to get out in front? That's going to be very, very tight indeed. I think Volker may have the lead of this. And there, you can just see the distance. Volker making his way into turn 1. And Holst, he comes around the first corner. Is he going to try and attack Volker? And Volker does indeed come out in front. Will Holst try and attack Volker coming into the right-hander into turn 3? Is he going to do it? No, he doesn't. Volker defends, and that could be the race win for Volker. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he'll have the fresher tyres now. Although Holst does have fresh tyres, as he just come out the pits, he'll start to warm them up, and he could have won that race with the 2-stop. Holst, crucially, has not overtaken him as soon as he could, and that could be costly for him if he wants to win this race. As now George Roque comes in for his final stop of the race. Let's see how quick this stop will be for Lotus. And let's see, it is a 6.1 second stop. And he comes out. Is he going to come out just in the points? It looks like he might just come out just outside. It's going to be very close as Gamba and Carr are coming across the line. And Gamba does get out in front. And I think Carr's going to get out in front as well. And yes, he does. So Roque has, at the moment, just missed out on the points, but he'll have fresher tyres. And Wolf almost goes into the back of Roque as he comes out the pits. You could just see that could have happened. Fortunately, nothing did. And Roque and Wolf are still in this race. But now Roque will have... And no, Roque, I thought he was going to try and get the points, but he won't now. And has Armar Carr been involved with him once again? And, oh dear me, it looks like another collision between the two. So I'll have to look at the replay of this. So let's see what happened. So Roque, who caught up to Carr, he got away from Wolf. He was coming along the inside of Carr, coming into turn 1. And Roque was on the inside. I mean, I don't think you could probably put the blame on anyone for that, Roque or Carr. I think they will give that as a racing incident. Don't think there's any driver particularly to blame for that one, as Roque, unfortunately, is now out of the race, not the start of the season that he would have wanted at all. So now Armar Carr is going to have to rejoin, and any chance of points that he possibly had have now gone out of the window. So now he'll rejoin Roque out of the race. So Carr looks like he'll rejoin in 12th place. Might even be lower at this rate. And yes, it will be. So he'll drop behind into, well, it will be in 12th, just down to 13th, as Roque's car being pushed away. But as we are now on to the last lap of the race, here is the race leader, Florian Volker, who crucially got out ahead of Viggo Holst in the second pit stop, and he never looked back. He's got a 13-second gap. But that is absolutely immense there from Florian Volker. That is an unbelievable gap, but I suppose he did have fresher tyres, but the pace of that Red Bull after the stop has been absolutely amazing. Holst, who looked good for possibly a win, but we forgot to count out Volker, who's had a fantastic race here today. As Volker laps Armor Car in the Force India, there shouldn't be any more troubles for him as he comes down the back straight. Volker, who won the title last season, Mr. Consistency he's called. He won the title last season despite winning just 2 races all year. But that is also how he won the 2010 season as well, by consistency. He won more races than 2011, but he was just more consistent. Only retired from, I believe, 1 race, I think. 1 or 2. There were only 1 or 2 races that he didn't score points in, I believe. As he's now coming around the last set of corners, he comes around the second right hand as he now heads towards the penultimate corner. Florian Volker, he took the lead from Holst after the stop, and he never looked back. The 2-stop beat the 1-stop. Red Bull strategy has worked today, and Florian Volker comes down the pit straight and he wins the Australian Grand Prix, the first round of the season. Congratulations to him. Carr comes home in 12th. Joseph Willows disappointing in 13th. Roland Moichin comes home in 14th. Igor Holst will come home in 2nd place. A good start to his McLaren career for Holst. His first ever pole position in the OC. Unfortunately, not his first win. As now Oliver Glazebrook comes home to take his first finish in the OC in 15th place. Alex Southgate's going to come home and take a very impressive 3rd place. As now Felix Sonntag is set to come home and finish in P4. We haven't actually seen much of him all race, but he has quietly done his business, and he is set to come home in a very impressive P4 to make it Mercedes 3 and 4. Miklos Gal comes home just behind him in 5th, and Kurosima De Rosa comes home and finishes a very impressive 6th place on his debut in the OC. Very well done to him. And Franco Gamma, despite that problem that he had early on in the race where he dropped 3 positions, is set to come home and finish in 7th place. A great result there for the Italian driver, and he now comes across the line to finish in 7th. And now Adam Wolff is set to come home and take 8th, just ahead of Jay McKenzie there for Renault. McKenzie, who had recovered from that first lap incident that he had with Roland Moichin, as Wolff, with his very nicely coloured helmet, comes across the line to take the last point spot for Williams in 8th, and McKenzie just misses out in 9th. Rivki Parkstein is set to come home in 10th place for Sauber, as he now comes across the line, and now Sam Thompson is just going to finish just behind him in 11th. As now the race is over, and there is your race winner, Florian Volker. And here is the full race results, with Volker winning from Holst in 2nd, Southgate in 3rd, Sonntag in 4th, excuse me, Gal in 5th, De Rossum in 6th, Gamba 7th, and Adam Wolff completing the points with McKenzie, Parkstein, Thompson on the lead lap, with the following cars a lap down: Armar Carr, Joseph Willows, Roland Moichin, and Oliver Glazebrook, with George Roche, Sean Grant, Evan Byrne, Robbie Ionescu, Waze Kuba, Roman Quagg, and Zachary Fitzwater not finishing this race. Now we move on to fastest laps, and that was set by Florian Volker by nearly half a second from Miklas Gau in 2nd, Armar Carr in 3rd. The pace that Force India had was pretty good. McKenzie in 4th, Holst in 5th, Sonntag 6th, Thompson 7th, De Rosa 8th, Moichin 9th, Roke 10th, Gamba 11th, Parkstein 12th, Joseph Willis 13th, Wolff 14th, Southgate, Glazebrook, Grant, Byrne, and Ionescu, Kuba, Quagg, and of course Zachary Fitzwater, who obviously were eliminated on the first lap. So here are once again the driver standings from the race results, with Volker, Holst, Southgate, Sonntag, Gal, De Rosa, Gamma, and Wolff completing the points, with the following drivers scoring currently on 0 points: Jay McKenzie, Ricky Parkstein, Sam Thompson, Armar Carr, Joseph Willows, Roland Moichin, Oliver Glazebrook, George Roche, Sean Grant, Evan Byrne, Robbie Ionescu, Waze Kuba, Roman Quagg, and Zachary Fitzwater. And in the Constructors' Championship at the moment, Red Bull lead by 3 points ahead of Mercedes, who are in turn 3 points ahead of McLaren in 3rd, Force India 4th with 3, Toro Rosso 5th with 2, Williams 6th with a point, with Lotus, Sauber, Ferrari, Caterham, and Marussia scoring 0 points. Well, that has been the first race of the 2012 GP4 Offline Championship season. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to, as usual, vote for your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you for the next round, the Malaysian Grand Prix at Sepang. Thanks for watching, and see you then.